Very well. Good to get a chance to visit with you again. Thanks for the way you always come through and answer our questions. I have many questions as well. Hospital Consumer Assessment Healthcare Provider System Survey. One of our favorite surveys when you're checking out of the hospital to be able to kind of score your own hospital, which is part of that ranking. You have mentioned multiple times about the opioid issue. I have a concern, my hospitals have a concern that they're being graded and reimbursed based on how they treat pain in the hospital. And that if someone leaves a hospital, which frankly, by definition, when you leave a hospital, you're going to experience pain. You don't go there because of the spa treatments. But that if you leave the hospital with pain or feel like the pain is not being taken care of well at the hospital, which incentivizes the hospital to overprescribe, that they get a bad score and they're not reimbursed as high. The simple question is, have you looked at that language lately? Have you evaluated the possibility that CMS is incentivizing hospitals to overprescribe pain medicine, and so they get a higher reimbursement because their scores don't go down?
Yes, we have looked into it. Mr. Alexander raised this issue with me, and we have actually done a look at it. I think what's important to reflect is we're in the middle of the look at it. At initial look, in terms of the analytics, the money is not enough in terms of it's a very, very small percentage. Having said that, I believe, and have gone back to the team, that even if it isn't about the economics, it may be about prescribers' belief. And it may be they be behaving in ways that aren't economically driven, and therefore we need to go at this again. Yes, we have looked at it.
I would agree on that, and I would tell you the hospitals do not tell me that the money's not enough. Right now they're counting every single penny, and to them that is a significant issue, and there seems to be an incentive to be able to push doctors. And I'm not saying the hospitals are forcing them, but it's one of the questions they're going back to make sure everyone treating pain, because we're going to ask them when they leave. That creates a very perverse incentive. Now let me talk about your favorite subject, RAC audits. I can't imagine anything we'd want to talk about more fun than RAC audits. I questioned one of our hospitals of many just about how RAC audits are going and what's happening with that. They sent me 49 denials that they have. 39 of the 49 have so far been overturned. All of these are related to a signature was not there or the date or time was not there. The question goes back to, was it medically necessary? Yes. They were shown to be medically necessary. But the RAC audit proposal and what we're trying to approach with RAC audits, my understanding was this is going after fraud and medical necessity. It seems to be a tremendous amount of money. Just this one group is $650,000. That was about signatures and date and time.
So we have changed our policy since our last conversation that I hope in ways that will take care of that. So if if one of these is overturned, as you just indicated those were, people will not be paid. The other thing is, if it's over 30 days, they will not be paid. And so much of the feedback that we have received from folks like you and your constituents, we've taken into account and now have different policies in place. So
is there a possibility to have a financial incentive on the auditors themselves that if they're pulling files that are then overturned, that there's a financial penalty on them?
Well, I think they will not receive the economics of it for them in terms of spending time on something you won't receive anything for is an economic incentive. Is it enough?
Even if there's a small penalty in that, just to incentivize them to pay attention to it does help, because if they scoop up a bunch and only 20% of them get pulled, the incentive is to pull up a larger amount, because then if only 20% are going to actually go all the way through, get a larger amount of 20% still gets it. There's a whole series of issues that are here, dealing with contingency fee structure versus flat fee, reducing the look-back period, from not as long, I think it's 5 years now, if I remember that correctly, to lowering that a year, 6 months, whatever it may be, so there's not this perpetual sense of a long look back on it. Trying to deal with good actors. When a hospital or a provider has consistently shown they've been good at it, not pulling as large of a group, trying to coordinate between the RAC audits and the ZPICs to make sure they're not getting both at the same time that are coming at them. A lot of issues that are out there that I would love to be able to just send you some of these things. I know you're working on them. The issue about the reimbursement, they're not paid for it. I understand that was taken care of a long time ago, but there's still more to go. We're still creating a hostile environment.
So welcome your suggestions and thoughts. And I think one of the things we all want to do, though, is make sure that we are eliminating fraud in the Medicare
I would totally agree.
System,
that was the intent at the beginning.
That's
but
right.
Not getting the date, time, and a signature in the right spot on the right sheet is not taking care of fraud. That was medically necessary, but we're now holding up large files for it. One last thing I want to get a chance to get to is, and it's going back to something that Senator Moran had mentioned before on California and the Weldon Amendment issues. Have you gone to the office or the General Counsel to ask a legal opinion about California and the Weldon Amendment? Has that been done?
The Office of our General Counsel will be involved in,
Are
the
they-
Office of Civil Rights does the investigation.
Correct. Has that formal request already been made of them to give a legal opinion to you on it?
With regard to the question, the General Counsel's office is a part of any of the conversations with OCR in terms of, I'm not sure when you say formal request.
Well, just to be able to make sure we're getting a legal, but this is a legal question that's out there that seems pretty cut and dry. Yes, it's clear California is violating the law. I can't seem to find any wiggle room, and 18 months later, we're still investigating it. We want to find out how thorough is this investigation after 18 months, a clear violation of black and
The
white
General
law.
Counsel is deeply involved.
So can we get a copy of some of those reports that are coming in so we can track what's happening? Again,
With
a year and a
regard,
half
we're in
later,
the middle of an investigation, and when the investigation closes, we will communicate.
which you
and
would
we will-
expect by when?
As I said to Senator Moran, at this point, do not have a timetable, but I do expect us to come to closure.
18 months is a long time to look at something. this
Appreciate
quick.
that.
So it's still unknown, it could be another 18 months.
Don't think it'll be another 18 months because I won't be here.
So it ends at that point, or?
I think probably I do not want to commit to a timetable, but I think your question is this an issue that will become resolved? I think is your question.
Yes.
And I look forward to doing that.
In your time. Thank you. Yield back.